Um, so over the course of my last few streams, I've been asked about a million times what my current rig is. Um, and, you know, I can only answer it so many times before getting sick of repeating myself. So I think it's about time I made a video about what my rig is. Now, this rig was paid for by donations, which I'm really thankful for. Allowed me to upgrade my setup here, and I've said I'm going to be getting into new games. Like, for instance, I might stream Rust tomorrow, and having a new rig will make that possible. So, first things first, I guess we'll start with the case. Before I was using, I guess I'll bring it up here. It's a Grade Max, not Riyadh Max. It's not the Ninja 2, it was this fucker. This fucking guy right here was the case I was using. It was a Raid Max Ninja, it was a mid-ATX case. It was fucking ugly. It was very poorly laid out inside. Like, there's the interior, and, like, what the fuck is, like, what is this? 5.25-inch bays? That's so excessive. And then the way the fucking bays were set up down here, like, it was very difficult to get a full-sized, like a full-size video card. I remember I bought a GTX 260 for this thing at one point, and it was a full-size card, and it barely fit in there. So the setup was fucking weird. The case was cheap. It was made half out of plastic. The ventilation sucked. You can see there's a spot for a fan up there, but there's no grill in the front for it to go through. It was supposed to suck in air through these little fucking, like, things in the side, which just didn't work. So your ventilation was basically an 80mm fan on the side and a 120mm fan on the back. So the ventilation was terrible. A bunch of hot air would get stuck in the bottom of the case. I held on to this case for as long as I possibly could, just because I was too cheap to buy another case. I kind of regret that now, because I got, where is it? This guy for about 60 bucks, and holy fuck, is it so much better. It's a very common case. A lot of people buy this case, and you know what? For good reason. It's a very good case. It's a nice, it's a mid-tower, but it's not that big. It's actually fairly compact. You get the modern layout of power supply on the bottom, which you can mount either upside down or right side up. I have mine upside down simply because the case does not really fit in the side of my desk. As a matter of fact, the desk extends from like here to here, so the feet aren't even putting it up, and so it wouldn't get any airflow from the bottom of the case. So I have it going upside down, with the fan sticking up. So yeah, this is the case I got. It comes with 220mm fans, one up front, one up back. There goes my follower notification. That's something weird with OBS, is even if I'm in a different scene, it still makes those noises. But I got two fans, one up front, one up back, and then I stuck some Noctua NF12, the Noctua fans that everyone buys. I stuck a couple of them up top. So 420mm fans in total. Airflow is superb. Everything in this case runs cold as hell, even when I'm in a game. It's great. I don't have anything overheating anymore, and it looks nice. You know, it's a very professional-looking, basic-looking case. Ample room for everything. It's got 4 2.5-inch bays for SSDs. It's got 4 3.5-inch bays for hard drives. A few 5.25-inch bays, which I haven't used. I don't have a CD drive on this, I don't think. No, I don't. I took that out. So yeah, that's the case. I stuck this motherboard in it. This is an Asus motherboard. It is a micro ATX motherboard because, I don't know. I always look for I always just look, I don't really have any allegiances when it comes to brands or anything for motherboards. And I always just look for a motherboard that fits my requirements. As for this motherboard, I wanted something with DDR4 RAM. I wanted something with a slot LGA 1151 for the new processor I was going to get. Obviously, a slot for the video card, and at least one PCI legacy slot for my sound card, which, in retrospect, I kind of wish I hadn't done. Not because there's anything wrong with the sound card, but because, and I use the sound card for like music production and stuff, FL Studio, I occasionally make music, but the driver does not work very well with Windows 10, but that's another story. So this is what I was looking for in this guy was, you know, like I said, PCI slot for the video card, 2 slots in case I ever wanted to, like, you know, link them together or something. And an 4 slots for DDR4 RAM and an LGA 1151 CPU slot. And this guy fit the bill. It's a micro ATX case or micro ATX board, even though I have a case that could fit a full-size ATX motherboard. Oh well, it doesn't matter to me. I've always bought micro ATX boards, and they've always been superb. So not a big deal for me. Here's the core I bought. It's an Intel Core i5. This is a 6600K, so this is the newest generation of Core i5s. This is where the majority of the money went to. $250 right off the bat there. But this is a fast-ass processor. Didn't really think the Core i7s warranted the extra $100 or so I'd have to spend on them, and trust me, this guy gets the job done. This thing is a fucking beast. My last build was a AMD build, and the processor in that was not that great. AMD's cheaper, but you get what you pay for. Intel's more expensive, but in my opinion, Intel is much better. The processor I'd gotten before that AMD build was, in fact, an Intel, and despite being outdated for some time, it ran quite well. So that's the core. RAM, 2 sticks of 8GB DDR4 G-Skill Ripjaw RAM. Nothing more to say to that. I got a ton of RAM because I tend to multitask a lot. I need a lot of RAM. Certain games use a lot of RAM. And I opted for 2 gigs of 8GB because I can always upgrade it. If at some point in the future, although I kind of doubt this, 16 gigabytes becomes not good enough, I can always buy 2 more 8GB sticks and up to 32 gigabytes. So, upgradability is always nice. Hard drives, I have 2 hard drives and 2 SSDs. The SSD I run my OS off is one of these, except it's the 120GB version. I bought this as well so I could fit more games onto the SSDs, thus improving the performance. So I have basically 360 gigabytes of SSD storage space and about 800 gigabytes of hard drive storage space. And then, last but not least, carried over from my last build is my trusty GTX 960 graphics card. This was a low profile, or well, not low profile, but smaller card. It was shorter, so I could fit it in that monstrosity of a case I showed you before. And, it gets the job done. It's a nice card. It's not the, brand spanking newest, most powerful card out there, but, it's powerful enough. It certainly runs my games just as well as I want them to. And, along with the new core and the new RAM and all that, and the SSDs, I've got a pretty good setup here. I haven't really tried a whole lot of modern games. The most modern game I've really tried is Rust, but the problem with Rust is it's terribly optimized. It's like even top-of-the-line builds struggle to run that game on full settings. So I need to get something like Overwatch just to get a good idea of where this build is with the most modern games that are actually well optimized. But yeah, that's that. It's probably dragged on for far too long, but yeah, that's my build.